Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to Podbox Plays .hack GU. This is Volume 1 Rebirth. Last episode we took care of the very beginning, and this is essentially a filler episode. This will be going through the news capture in the community forum before I go back into the gameplay. So if you want a little more backstory, a little more meat to the potatoes, this is what we're going to cover, and we will go back into the actual action in the next episode. Alright, under news capture, we have a lot of tabs. We're going to topics. Online Jack, free streaming will investigate the hottest topics for you with Salvador Ihara. Alright. Available now. Phase number 1. Welcome to Online Jack, the no-holds-barred information program that brings you the hottest topics. Our star reporter, Salvador Ihara, will bring you all of the dirt you want to know, and here's this week's Jack target, Doll Syndrome. Doll Syndrome is a mysterious illness that is secretly spreading among the elementary school students. Our Online Jack investigators will lock onto Taichiro Sugai. Okay. The noted professor and author of online games are turning our children into dolls, the dangers of Doll Syndrome. Okay, everyone, let's call our Salvador Ihara. Something tells me I'm not gonna like this dude.
This is Salvador Ihara's Online Jack. We investigate the hottest controversies in today's news. The in-your-face, hard-hitting show. Welcome to Online Jack. Okay, get ready, all you netizens out there. Today's Jack target is Doll Syndrome. Have you heard of it? It's the mystery illness that's spreading like wildfire among grade schoolers. It causes verbal and mental defects that leave victims non-responsive. That's right, this disease turns children into lifeless dolls, oh no! But we'll fight back. To combat this earth-shattering crisis, we at Online Jack started an investigation. I, Salvador Ihara, will save the world!
Okay, he's got a lot of charisma. I'll give him that.
It's called Doll Syndrome, a truly mysterious illness. Some scientists tell us the cause is endocrine-disrupting chemicals, but what I want to showcase here is this book. Internet games are turning our kids into dolls, a warning about Doll Syndrome. Taichiro Sugai, a professor from Takayama University, wrote the book and lives here. According to his book, Doll Syndrome's root cause is none other than online games. Online games, famous games such as The World, perhaps. I love them too, but he says that online games and their more than 12 million participants all living out their virtual dreams are the cause. You'll remember that several years ago, the World game was found to be responsible for players being put into a coma. Could it be that it's also causing the dreaded Doll Syndrome? Are these online games nothing but a blight upon our society? If the professor feels that way, then let's see what he has to say. Let us begin the interview.
What do you want? You know how late it is?
Hey there, I'm the host of Online Jack, Salvador Ihara. I have a few questions about your book, Online Games Are Turning Our Kids into Dolls, a warning about Doll Syndrome. Can you believe this guy? Open up, Professor Sugai. We want to talk to you.
You've just come to make fun of my book, haven't you? Get away from here!
If you don't explain yourself on camera, sir, you'll make yourself look even more suspicious.
I don't have to explain myself. All I did was publish the results of my own independent research.
How you say independent research, but isn't it true that your sources themselves are questionable?
Not as questionable as you.
Well, then prove to us that your sources are credible. If you do, we won't bother you anymore, Professor.
Oh! Give me a break. Who would believe you? And another thing, I'm an associate professor.
Okay. Well, we were turned down by Associate Professor Sugai, but to follow our own independent research, we went undercover into the very elementary school that Sugai was investigating. This is the elementary school where Associate Professor Sugai was conducting his study on Doll Syndrome. Is a killer disease stalking the children of this ordinary elementary school? Let's take a look.
And before disturbing the peace, just banging on another man's door and screaming out.
Hey there, boys and girls! There's no need to fear. Salvador Ayjara is here!
Who are you? We're in the middle of class!
Oh, what is this vision of loveliness that graces our presence? Hello, senorita!
Oh, senorita!
The world together! Viva Salvador!
Get out of here, you creep!
Alright.
Here we are in the teacher's lounge. I haven't been to one of these since the days when I used to peep under girls' skirts.
Hey, come on, man. This is a
If you
child-friendly...
want to film in here, you need to get permission
show.
first.
But the whole purpose of the show is it's undercover.
No,
You
that's-
entertainment
okay.
people have no decency.
You're so beautiful when you're angry.
Stop that. What are you investigating?
Doll syndrome. Miss Michiru Tajima, teacher of 4th grade class 1.
Alright, Alright. Is he, of mixed descent? Is he, you know... Is he Hispanic and Japanese, or what? Because he's totally trying to play that vibe. Oh, man. I think I used to just, like, not like him when I was younger, just because of his attitude, but now it's just, like, aside from his completely, like, you know, ignorance of just the law for being undercover, he's got that little funny charm, that little goofy charm to him. Alright, R2 breaks the 12 million mark. CyberConnect Japan announced today that its popular online game, The World R2, has sold 12 million copies worldwide. CC Corp's other products include The World, Fate Must Die, Person, and Kuru Kuru Michi. The World R2 is an online game set in a fantasy world where humans and beasts live together. Players become world-renowned adventurers and travel around killing monsters and discovering the world's secrets. As recently as a few years ago, shows in the world were at an all-time low. I excuse my poor reading, goodness, due to the emergence of new developers. On top of that, the world was completely shut down after all data was lost in a disastrous fire at CC Corp's headquarters. Amid the chaos and compensation issues that resulted from those events, CC Corp announced the sequel, The World R2. Most people deemed it a desperate plea for attention, and many analysts declared that R2 would fail miserably. However, the figures shown today that proven that the world is as popular as ever. CC Corp seems confident. Watch us overcome the problems we encountered on our previous title. It seems everyone will be watching The World for some time to come. See today. Alright. Good gracious. Alright. New space station nearing completion.
With the participation of Japan and many other countries, the International Space Station, slated for completion in 2017, is nearly done. As large as a soccer stadium, this fully manned facility will be used for various types of research in a deep space environment.
But it's 2018. It has been 5 years since the space station evolution was completed and the second station announced. The International Space Station, built with the cooperation of America, Japan, the EU, Russia, and China, is finally nearing completion. Initially, it was projected to launch in 2017. In contrast to the Evolution, which is currently being used as a space laboratory, the new space station is planned for use in construction of moon bases, exploration of Mars, and the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. And I believe we just watched that movie. Okay. Nation unified on citizen numbering system. The Administration Relations Bill has been passed with a majority vote. With this, the digitization of our government approaches its final stages. Oof. Watchdogs. Starting this month, all local servers managed by regional governments will be frozen, and all the various ID rules used by self-governing bodies will be unified to federal government specifications. In addition, it will become required for all governing bodies to adopt the numbering system and for all citizens to wear their own number at all times for administrative purposes. This just does not look like that does not sound like a good idea. This system, introduced to speed up government processes by conducting them online, is already being used in online banking, shopping, and other sites. By using a receiver placed in one's home, all Japanese citizens will be able to use their cell phones or mobile computers to access a variety of services from anywhere in the country. Yet, in spite of the incredible conveniences we have today, the system has met with severe opposition. Recently, the Independent Japan Party won many seats in the lower house of the Diet D. Because of the popular position abandon the bill altogether. Calls for all political parties to discuss this bill are still continuing, and the problem has attracted a lot of media attention. Of course. Mr. Ko G, okay, chief editor of the weekly magazine Netwatcher, goodness gracious, I apologize for that, had this to say. It is true that this system will make things very convenient. When you compare the time when the bill was first approved to now, the encryption technology has made huge leaps. The NAB, Network Administration Bureau, has been established and some semblance of order has been brought to the internet. While there are far fewer data leaks, and at first glance it would appear that there are no problems whatsoever, however, take a moment to think. In exchange for IT advancements and a more convenient lifestyle, we have been reduced to being defined by a 15-digit combination. Exactly. This is no different than the ear tags placed on cows and horses to tell them apart. It is no wonder why the people are so opposed to this degrading system. Despite all of this, the system has made it through the legal process and will soon be a part of our lives. Will there ever be a day when we'll welcome it? I understand both sides of that argument very well. While it is incredibly convenient to have something like that, to legit just make you a number just feels more mundane than what we are now. And the whole, like, watchdog situations where people can just be hacked and blah, 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 blah.
The Online Administration Act received a majority vote of the ruling party, meaning the adoption of the citizen numbering system seems to be inevitable. As a result, the process of converting to an electronic government has overcome its final hurdle.
It'd be interesting to see if they actually flesh this out a little more. I kind of like when games have their own world and their own, like, laws, systems, checks and balances, and things like that. And it lets me feel more connected to the story or what happens. Especially if they do it, like, of course, if they do it well, but, like, if you don't go against your own rules. Okay, let's see. Games to blame for juvenile delinquency. I'm a hero. These are the words written on a sketchbook found in a young boy's school bag. The recent outbreak of juvenile delinquency is said to be the effect of video games, according to experts. Games have far better graphics compared to novels and comics, and games are interactive. It is easy for children to see themselves as the protagonists of their favorite games. This is a dangerous phenomenon. For example, what would happen if a child were to play an extreme action game and began to believe that he was the game's main character? He could possibly act in real life the same way he could in the game. It frightens me just thinking about the consequences of that. There are several cases of parents, both game-influenced assailants and their victims, suing game companies, claiming they're responsible for making their children into criminals or somehow responsible for their child's death. Not because we don't do a good job parenting, or not because we don't pay attention enough or try to be more interactive. It is the game's fault. It is 100% the video games. However, the game companies respond by saying we have implemented a perfectly good rating system for our games and no one is allowed to buy them without proper identification. Perhaps the ones who are truly to blame are the parents who allow their children to buy such games. Outrage! Blasphemy! My chair is very creaky. I need to stop moving. I'm getting too far into this. Blasphemy! How dare you say that I do a bad job? A friend of one of the victims had this to say: you can't just blame the problem on one thing, it's more complex than that. Everyone involved has to share the blame. Game makers, parents, and even myself are no exception. We should all realize this and stop this pointless arguing. After all, it's not like the arguing will help bring back what is lost. Very true, very valid point. I agree with you. CC Japan announces new model M2D. Is it the glasses, or are we having some weird, like, Android thing going on now? CyberConnect Japan announced a new model of M2D micro monocle display. Boom, it was the eyeglasses. The M2D has been developed as the next generation of HMD's head-mounted displays. Previous models have suffered from various imbalances, such as high-performance technology in a heavy, awkward helmet, or goggle types that were lacking in audio-visual capabilities. However, this new generation HMD features all of the comfort of a light goggle display together with the AV performance that outperforms previous helmet types. It features a standard 1280 by 1024 full color projection display complete with transparency option and high quality audio immersion thanks to its new OmniSphere system. Its default usage is monocle mode, a mode where the screen is displayed in only one lens, but is also capable of switching to double lens mode, allowing one to enjoy fully immersive virtual world. So, someone who is more tech savvy, would you let me know? Is 1280 by 1024 like good by our standards? Because it's 2018 when I'm playing this, and we've had a lot of advances in, our technology and our AV. So I don't want to know if that's pretty good or not. I'm not really, too big on that subject. Customer service is also excellent with regular updates and complimentary software. I personally recommend the software Automatic Broad Interpretation. It allows you to select objects in front of you and provide easy access to information about them. It has already been selected as the standard equipment for CC Japan's online game, The World R2. Plans for it to be used in other company projects are said to be in the works. It's a bit pricey with a suggested price of $420, but it's worth it. I can't wait for its release. Are you able to see past that? Is that what the one lens mode is for? Because if you're walking around with that, I would imagine that, visual problems would be pretty rampant.
Display your world. For business or for entertainment, the new M2D Micro Monocle display now on sale. Once you're freed from your mobile, the net opens up in front of your eyes.
Okay. Alright. Goodness gracious. New York and back in the day. ASST service begins. Today marked the official launch of ASST, short for Advanced Supersonic Travel. Since the use of Concords was abandoned more than 10 years ago, Japan and Europe have cooperated in developing the first usable ASST model. The plane seats 250 people, possessing a cruising range of 10,000 kilometers and can fly from Tokyo to New York in roughly 4 hours. Holy moly, a considerable reduction from the current 14-hour trip, yeah. Although a day trip to New York City is no longer a mere dream, to make this dream come true requires some serious cash. The current price of a one-way New York-Tokyo trip is 3,200,000 yen, or roughly $30,000. A round trip is double that. It's enough to make the old expensive Concorde prices feel like a pocket change in comparison. I agree. However, there appears to be no shortage of people desperately seeking tickets despite the high prices. The moment asked flights were announced, new Ace Airlines phones began ringing off the hook with ticket requests for tickets, causing the phone lines to become jammed. One NAA employee remarked that he just hopes his company can keep going at this rate. Goodness. A one round-trip Concorde flight between London and New York costs between $9,000 and $13,000. Huh.
The supersonic passenger jet, ASST, which can attain speeds of over Mach 3, has been officially commissioned. As a result, the amount of time it takes to fly from Tokyo to New York has been shortened from 14 hours to just 4 hours.
Jeez, that's... I could never be able to afford some tickets like that, goodness. Do these all have movies? Okay, they don't. Outdoor introverts. It wasn't long ago that the word introvert referred to someone who would spend most of the time of the day cooped up in their room playing an online game. Excuse me. But now, advances in mobile technology have given birth to a new type of introvert, known as outdoor introverts, who play online games wherever they go. These introverts insist that they are healthier than their indoor counterparts because they spend more time outside, but they refuse to let go of their mobile devices, whether they're traveling to work or school, shopping, eating out, and even going on a date is unnatural. I mean, traveling to work or school, cool, if you're on the bus, whatever. Shopping, I'm surprised you can, keep track of both things at the same time. Like, looking at, say, a fight in the world and picking out your favorite clothing materials. Oh my gosh, I said clothing materials. Your favorite clothes. Eating out or even going on a date is unnatural. Now, if you make yourself go out to go on a date with somebody, I'm getting loud. Excuse me. That is incredibly rude to take your game with you or your entertainment device, whether you're using it to play the game or like browsing that world's YouTube or whatever. That's not cool, man. One of these introverts, John Doe, a 20-year-old college student, says, "Nothing I do in the real world feels real. It's so much more satisfying to complete a quest with your friends together online." Eh, that's a little much. For them, online games are more than just entertainment. If anything, the meal times and errands only serve as something to do in between game sessions. And now these people are outside being introverts like it's completely natural.
In the old days, when people thought of an online junkie, they envisioned someone locked in their room, glued to their computer 24 hours a day. But today, due to radical improvements in mobile devices, network games can be enjoyed outside and have given rise to a whole new breed of online junkies.
I mean, as somebody who also is inside when he's not at work. I mean, there are some parts of like, social constructs that I would definitely be more considerate about. Like earlier, the date thing and all of that. I would definitely wouldn't bring like my DS to a date. It just seems rude to me. Death by gaming, a worldwide epidemic. Incidents of players dying from playing online games for too long are increasing around the world. In most cases, players died from the heart failure due to extreme exhaustion after playing the game for over 30 hours straight. One college student was enjoying a game in an internet cafe when he suddenly collapsed. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. The student was a well-known player in the online game The World and was reportedly leveling up his character in preparation for a title match in the Arena, an online series of gladiator-like battles. There have also been incidents of players dying from too much excitement after losing an arena match, placing greater focus on the problem of online game addiction. Delete data, ongoing grudges. Some people have said in a flash the world was gone. It has been 2 years since the largest online game ever, The World, with 20 million copies sold worldwide, was taken offline. It was around this time that CyberConnect Japan, hereby referred to as CC Corp, had a fire at their headquarters. As the extent of the damage caused by the fire, which wiped out all of the world's data, became increasingly apparent, CC Corp's leaders held a rather somber press conference. The game program, character data, and cyber data were all reduced to ashes, and what was left was drenched in water used to put out the fire. This happened soon after a string of break-ins, which meant that the usage of Megafloat had just been stopped. All backup data was in the company headquarters. Online data has been recognized as property for many years now, but unlike antiques, jewelry, or other tangible objects, the moment data is damaged or disappears, it loses all its worth forever. Even now, the voices of those seeking their lost property can be heard, but CC Corp refuses to budge from their unwavering attitude that it's gone and it ain't coming back. Now, 2 years since that incident, there still appears to be no end to the discussions about online data, personal property, and protection, even with the imminent release of The World R2. Ubiquitous, families surpass 70%. The Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare announced today that according to the latest Japanese census, the number of ubiquitous families have surpassed 70% of the population. Ubiquitous is a Latin-based word meaning present everywhere. It refers to the third generation of computers. The first generation was mainframe one computer per household, and the second was personal computer, one for each family member. And the current third generation, using a computer in daily life has become almost as natural as eating. We can connect to the internet without the effort of even conscious thought, anywhere, anytime. Home electronics are now managed by a personal home server, and we are now able to watch over everything from the contents of our refrigerator to the temperature of our bathtubs, programming TV shows onto our HD recorders, and even checking if our doors are properly locked. I would love to have that from any terminal, anywhere, including our cell phones. Furthermore, progress made in voice and handwriting recognition has opened up computers to be more active, flexible method of working, and users are no longer ruled by a strict list of settings managed by a machine. While it comes to as no surprise that the most active members of the ubiquitous family are in their 20s, what is surprising is that the next largest group is made up of senior citizens. Not really. If they need a lot of assistance doing things, and there are things out there that help them do that, I would definitely see them being the second uh, practitioners of that. Even though, like, the whole stigma of, oh, people don't know crap about computers, which, yeah. But if it's like learning how to, lock your doors, and bathroom adjustments, I feel like they would definitely put in the required attention to learn that. Um, because a lot of it is just refusal to like encompass it unless you have like like Alzheimer's or some other type of thing that would make you physically unable to like connect to that. The ministry reports that the main reason for this is the added simplicity such connectivity allows the elderly in managing their homes. Oh, or that I could finish reading the entire article before speaking and have it answer my what I was going to say. Okay, under nation. Wait. Oh, did we go through the whole thing? Wait. We went through these. We did that. We did that. Okay, nice. So we went through a lot of this. Okay, other news in nation. CC Corp employees happy in new office. The new headquarters for CyberConnect Japan has been completed. The new building, designed with an avant-garde look and located close to a high-powered commercial area, is sure to become the next great landmark in the city center. The CyberConnect Museum, located on the ground level, is open to the public, though one must apply for admission, and popular characters from its international mega hit, The World, will greet visitors personally. 2 years after the fire, employees are happy to be leaving their cramped temporary offices and moving back to a proper working environment. Users have also been eagerly anticipating the move in the hope that the newer and more interesting games will be made as a result. The fire broke out in CC Corp's headquarters in 2015, reportedly causing a spark in an electronic device. Several people were killed and many people were injured.
After having suffered a huge fire in 2015, CyberConnect Japan's new home office has now been completed. Subsequent investigations determined that a spark from electrical equipment led to the blaze 2 years earlier, resulting in multiple deaths and injuries.
Jeez. Okay. Another accident at CC Corp. Earlier this morning, 4 employees at CyberConnect Japan, hereafter referred to as CC Corp, suffered electric shocks while working to construct a company server and were promptly rushed to the hospital. All 4 were unconscious and in critical condition. CC Corp commented, "We are still searching for the cause of the tragic accident." Similar incidents occurred 7 years ago when a number of employees monitoring a server were rendered unconscious. At the time, CC Corp was severely admonished for its lack of safety protocols and as a result introduced a TSN system into their headquarters, but accidents continued to occur. 2 years ago, CC Corp headquarters suffered a huge fire in which several of their employees were killed. These constant accidents are prompting questions about the company's intentions regarding safety in the workplace. Try surveillance network system. 3 different AIs are set inside the company network to monitor it. It is designed to prevent information leaks, improper network usage, and company-wide system problems. Developed in 2010 by the International Electronic General Technology Research Center. The dark side of the online generation. As soon as we were called each other by our world names, if I felt like something had gone far away, said one of the young culprits to his lawyer. Excuse me. It has been 2 months since the incident in which 3 young boys took over a school faculty room. Currently, they live in separate rooms while undergoing a reform program. Only recently has one of the boys started to speak about what happened that day. Even now, they continue to inhabit a virtual reality, said a source close to the boys. They don't like to talk about school, and when asked about their family or friends, they reply with only the most basic information possible. The only time their eyes sparkle is when talking about the world. When asked about who his best friend is, one boy replies with a Western name. If we're to then ask him if that name is the name of his pen pal, his expression saddens and he responds, "I don't have any friends in real life." The one thing these boys can be said to have in common is the fact that they all have completely removed themselves from the real world. They do not trust the real world. I told people online about my problems. In real life, no one would care about them, but online, everyone cares. My online friends are all so nice. They worry about me, they give me advice. I just wish the real life was like my online life. Although discussions about the effects of online gaming on the young boys have been going on for years, public opinion has been moving against games as more and more facts of this case comes to light. These boys know of reality, yet do not seem to understand it. What will they see when they return to the real world?
It was discovered that the 3 armed youths who were responsible for the recent school riot were devoted online gamers. Following this discovery, public criticism of online games increased sharply.
That's a tough topic. It's definitely a mixture of a little bit of everything. I wouldn't feel just games are to blame. Being a gamer, of course, I'd be a little biased, but there are definitely many other factors that attribute to what could have happened there. So, alright, World Meeting on Global Warning, goodness gracious. A meeting was held this week in Kazakhstan, Central Asia, about the greenhouse effect in cutting down greenhouse emissions such as CO2. Thanks to progress made in carbon dioxide processing technology, the amount of CO2 released last year was down to 10% of what it was in 1990. However, the problem of global warming has yet to be fully resolved due to the expanding energy needs of former third world countries. 5 Japanese to play in Major League Baseball. This year marks the first time that 5 Japanese players will be playing the MLB All-Star in the MLB All-Star game. Among them, 33-year-old Kyuji Nakasugi will be playing in the majors for the 4th consecutive year and currently holds 2nd place for most home runs batted in this season with 20 home runs so far. Nakasugi commented in his blog, saying that, "I'm very happy to have been chosen as an All-Star again this year. I hope you look forward to my home run contest." Alright. Tech. Okay. Alright. Virtual academics officially begins. Starting this year, a private high school in the city will begin offering virtual academic courses. For the last 2 years, the school has been conducting VAC trials with physically disabled and hospitalized students. The process involves preparing a virtual classroom on a network which the students attend via M2D displays. Virtual avatars are based on students' actual appearances and assembled using CG. Students are even able to look out a virtual window. Instead of merely granting high school graduate qualifications as most distance learning courses provide, the system's goals are to provide students with a real memory of school life. New GPS systems widely used. New Global Positioning Systems, or GPS, for cars that monitor real-time traffic information through a constant connection to the database of the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, and Transportation are now widespread practical use. The new systems speak with the driver as naturally as a human and learn their driver's speech and behavior patterns over time, enabling the systems to understand the set of destination even when the driver refers to vague terms such as the usual place or work. Furthermore, the systems are equipped with highway-specific auto-drive functions, allowing users to leave the driving entirely to the GPS system. We're slowly encroaching into that, aren't we? I remember that, Google has its own thing with, was it Uber? But I definitely do know that there were some problems and complications, like there was a crash and a death, and they're looking into that. But the technology is still advancing towards that. 50% of parents support microchips for children. The belief that Japan was a safe society has long since been destroyed. Now, a new study reveals that over 50% of parents want to have microchips embedded in their children's bodies to prevent them from getting lost or kidnapped. Currently, the safety chip from Horizont Incorporated is being widely distributed. The chip size is less than a half a grain of rice, and by scanning the area it's embedded in, usually the neck, with a special scanner, all the information contained in the chip can be easily downloaded. The chip costs $115, and a monthly fee of $10 is required to access and manage the database. Once the chip is embedded, the embeddee can use it as they would a cell phone in order to get cash, buy groceries, enter passwords, and so on. However, the chip can also be used to look up personal history and/or criminal record and pinpoint the embeddee's exact location using GPS technology. Furthermore, it is also possible to use the chip to pay for train tickets and highway tolls, and to send information to a computer or cell phone by pointing it towards them. However, many people are strongly opposed to implanting a chip into children who are unable to make their own decisions, calling parents who choose to do so egotistical and invasive. But in response to those complaints, Horizons is developing a new model called a guard bangle, which is a bracelet with a chip embedded in it, but this option leaves itself wide open to theft, defeating the purpose of having one for safety purposes. Many teenagers desire to have one of these chips implanted for the cool factor, but in a survey of children who have had these chips implanted, over 80% said they regret it. It seems that these chips have a long way to go before they'll be accepted by society. Yeah, I kind of get that. Like, I do understand the invasive part of it, and I do like the convenience factors of it. Of course, like paying for tolls and all that other stuff, but I don't know. Yeah, just the huge invasion to privacy would be a little off for me. All right, almost done. All right, let's go. Whew. Player killers and players killed. Players known as PKers exist in online games. They are player killers, and they play the game to defeat other player characters. PKing also refers to the actual act of killing a player. The victims of PKers often lose experience points and in-game currency, and many of them have given up playing online games due to this shock. When asked, most PKers will say things like, if it's allowed in the game, then it's not against the rules, everyone's got different playing styles, or if you don't like it, go play a game that doesn't allow it. It is true that there are many online games that do not allow PKing. However, on the other hand, when considering that many players in non-PK games have far lower motivation to play than their PK game counterparts, it becomes difficult to say whether PKers are good or bad for the game. One player had this to say: the PK problem will never go away unless the people controlling the characters change. Crimson Versus Servers Down. Crimson Versus, the popular online card game run by CyberConnect Japan, remains offline 6 months after efforts to expand the servers and conduct software updates. Crimson Versus is played together with the World R2. Players make a custom deck out of hundreds of different cards and pit them against other players' decks online. One of the main problems of this type of online card game is the fact that none of the cards a player gains actually exist. They're all just data uploaded to a server. Therefore, during long periods of downtime, such as the current one, players cannot use or even admire one's hard-earned collection. To that end, CyberConnect Japan has been flooded with requests from users to hurry up and resume the game's service. Fans of the game, ranging from elementary school students to adults, are even now eagerly awaiting the return of their favorite game. Goodness gracious, that was a lot. That video, or this video, literally took as long as the beginning of the game itself. I do enjoy stuff like this though, like, you know, the added exposition and depth, you know, the whole, giving a whole backstory to the world and everything that goes on beyond it, and it's a little too close to home news tidbits about, like, just, you know, gaming affecting like life and just cultures, you know, specifically. Wait, I'm not done? Holy, okay, how much is in here? Holy, oh my gosh. Do I do a whole nother video for this? 4, 8.